Coming up on Mobile Learning in the Classroom, Statistics and Probability. Hi, my name is Trainin and this is Mobile Learning in the Classroom from Tech Edge, and today we are talking about statistics and probability, and I want to start when I often start when I think about concepts in math, and that is the Khan Academy. And Khan Academy has a really nice collection of videos around statistics and probability. So if we were example, we will look at summarizing quantitative data, and this is the whole collection in Khan Academy. And Khan Academy can be used on the laptop through your browser or on the iPad. One of the best ways to use it is actually through the app, because that allows you to download the videos and not be reliant on having internet connection all the time. So it depends if students have access or not, but that's a solution. And you can see that you can start with personalized study, which means you start with a quiz to know where you are, and then it puts you in the right video, or you can just start using it. So for example, you can go to this concept, you can do some practice questions, or you can actually play the video. So as you can see, he works through some problems, and while he's doing that, you can actually start doing your own problems as part of that deal. And you can see that you can jump to the next one. So if you know how to do that, it can go to the next question or to the next piece of video or description. So this is very rich content. It walks you step by step, or you can jump to what you're interested in based on where you are and what questions you are. So this is the Khan Academy. I'm not going to spend too much time about this because we've talked about this before. The second thing that I want to use, and this is especially if you want to explore probability and statistics in the classroom, one of the ways you can use it is explorelearning.com has a set of simulations for the classroom that you can use. Now, if you don't have a license, you can use it for only 5 minutes, then you've got to switch off. You can look for it by concept. And I'm looking at data analysis and probability, and this is, we'll look at probability, and you can see that there's a gizmo where you can actually get a simulation that allows you to examine probabilities, and you determine what the probabilities are. So you can go to the big wheel, it's coming up, and you can see that you can, here right now it's 1 out of 4, and we can make it as a graph. You've got 1 to 4 chances of winning, and you can see what happens if you go 1 time, and you can see what happens if you do 10 of them, right? It'll try it multiple times and show you the distribution and how the law of large numbers really works. So this is a great way for kids to explore probability without a physical object. You could do it through a simulation, which helps especially if you want to get closer to larger and larger numbers and to still remember them. We can run it as 100 of them, and you can see that it's running really, really fast, which is kind of funny and would make the point really clear to kids about how this probability works. So this is a way, so this gizmo is a great way. You can see the clock ticking on the side. I have only 5 minutes to use it. So if you do want to use it in the classroom without paying, you've got to kind of time it right. But it might be something that is worth doing, especially if you're going to use multiple simulations for kids to do explorations on their own. I think personally, this is worth it. The next thing that I want to talk about is Wolfram Alpha, and I'm going to explore it on the iPad, although again, this is not necessarily for the iPad only. The first app I want to show on the iPad is Wolfram Alpha. And Wolfram Alpha has a series of apps that relate a lot to statistics, probability, and math in general. This one is called the Statistics Course Assistant, and what it allows you to do is do simple calculations really quickly so you don't have to waste time doing them, and they're easier because they do it. They do the calculation, the actual math calculation for you. So for example, calculate the mean of this data. So you do, let's enter 12, 45, 67, 38, and 23, and you can compute. and it gives you the result, and you can also see the step-by-step solution. So it opens up the options here. It's a very simple calculation, so there's not much to it. So you can get a really quick answer about your data without doing too much work. And you can see that you can calculate other statistics as well, including most of the central tendency statistics really, really quickly. And you can also do probabilities, coin flips or die. So for example, let's get to the number of flips we're going to do, 123 flips. And we can then compute the probability, right? And you can see the graph, you can see the probabilities for very specific cases, all heads, all tails, and then probabilities for the middle. And so you get the sense of how this is distributed, you get the graphics that goes with it, which helps you get a sense of what the probability does. So this is Wolfram Alpha, course assistant in statistics. I find it incredibly useful because it's really fast, because it doesn't require a lot of input or a lot of other things that you need to do. It works for me just to get me a sense. The last one is an app called Stats. And this app is a book about statistics. It's a book written by Elizabeth Albright, and she created this book to sit online. It is completely free, and it allows you to scroll through simple language, answer to questions you have. You can jump along, you can use it as an aid in a class, or you can use it just to refresh your memory. It's really, really easy. You see concepts and you go to comparison of proportions, and you can see that the texts are in general fairly short. It has the symbols, it has the detail, but the language is not too heavy. It's very readable, it's very accessible, and it is short. So it doesn't become this really heavy descriptive language that is very common to statistics books that make them almost impenetrable because you're just not sure what they're talking about. You're not sure how they're using language. This really allows you to get that access really quickly, and I find that it's really useful as a refresher for anybody who's doing any kind of basic statistics or even more advanced statistics and wants to just remember what it is. Nobody wants to read at that point multiple chapters in a book. We want some short descriptors that lead us to exactly where we want to go. And there's one of my favorite pieces, which is what test to run. If you're just wondering about what tests could you run given a specific situation, you could input that and it'll tell you what kind of tests would be useful. So this is Stats, exclamation point, and I find that book incredibly useful, and it's freely available on the iPad. It's pleasing, it's fantastic. So today on Mobile Learning in the Classroom, we talked about statistics and probability, and I'll see you next time.